Is there finally a legit challenger to Clemson in the ACC? Welcome to the Voice of College Football, breaking down spring games across America on this fine Saturday, April 24th. Let's look at North Carolina. I checked out the spring game from a soggy, rainy Chapel Hill, North Carolina on Saturday. And yes, Clemson has won 6 consecutive ACC championship games, the last 4 in blowout fashion. But will finally somebody make Clemson sweat a little bit in the conference championship game? I believe North Carolina has what it takes. We shall see. It was nice to see Mack Brown talk about his North Carolina program before the game started. He had his Jordans on. That looked really good. Had his powder blue on. And for being one of the oldest coaches in America, he's also one of the most connected to his team. And that's obvious to see. He has turned around this program from a 5-win team, a 5-win in 2 years, 2 seasons team under Larry Fedora, his final 2 campaigns in Chapel Hill, to a contender for an ACC championship, a team that just took Texas A&M to the final minute at the Orange Bowl, and of course is one of the chic programs in college football. Players want to play at North Carolina again, much like they did the first time Mack Brown was at North Carolina and turned them from a 1-10 team into a top 10 team. Hearing Mack Brown talk about his program, what is so refreshing and transparent is him talking about promoting the NFL, promoting his players, talking to them honestly about their prospects of playing in the NFL, and encouraging them to take that step. Of course, for selfish reasons, he would want Sam Howell to play his final season as a senior in 2021-2022 at North Carolina. But Mack Brown has said, I don't want that for Sam Howell. The best case scenario for Sam Howell is going to be for him to have a great season. We have a great season, and he moves on to the NFL as a first-round draft pick. Most likely a top 10 pick and maybe the number 1 overall selection in the 22 NFL draft. You would have to listen to Mack Brown talk about his team and his program. It is so refreshing. It is the perfect balance of let's compete for championships. So we need to work hard, hold the program and the players accountable, be competitive, bust each other in the mouth, battle for positions, but also have fun. This is a place to have fun. This is a place to still be a student athlete. And then we're going to point you toward the NFL and prepare you for the next level and to be a professional in football. It's great to hear. So Sam Howell is the franchise player, of course. And can he get any better? Well, Mack Brown also spoke about how Sam Howell is improving his game as a leader, as a communicator to the rest of the team, a quarterback who should be able to process the information even quicker this fall, get the ball out of his hand quicker to help the offensive line, make better decisions, and then also physically you would think, okay, well, he's an elite athlete, he's an elite quarterback, he's got plenty of arm strength. How can he get better? He's also a mobile guy who is tough to bring down because of his big frame. But no, Mack Brown talked about, and then later Sam Howell talked about getting stronger in the weight room, becoming faster and more flexible so that he can avoid injury and also be a more effective runner and be more elusive in the pocket to make more difficult types of throws out of the pocket and on the run. Great to hear. Mack Brown is a better interviewee than he was an analyst of college football. I always found him kind of dull and matter of fact and cliched as an analyst during his stint between the Texas job and the North Carolina job. But as a coach, now talking to the media, he is the best interview in college football. All right, let's run down the game notes. Please leave your comments below on your thoughts about North Carolina football, and if you had a chance to see the spring game, your thoughts about the personnel coming back. Of course, the defense has been borderline atrocious, but they do return 10 starters. Unfortunately, the one that is lost to the NFL is Chaz Surratt, one of the best players in college football. So who stood out, not just in regards to the spring game, but in hearing from the coaches and the players talk about what's happened for the past month in 15 sessions at spring practice? Dez Evans could be a breakout player. He only has about 80 snaps under his belt. He had 10 tackles last year and 2 tackles for loss, and he looks good. Also, you've got Eugene Asante, who had 24 tackles last year, and he was rushed into the starting lineup in placing Surratt in the bowl game against Texas A&M, and he stepped up with 10 tackles against the Aggies. Ra Dilworth, the freshman, he looks great. He flashed in this game and apparently has flashed throughout the spring. Also, keep in mind that they've got a 5-star along the defensive front who will see significant playing time. And, of course, the recruiting under Mack Brown has been improved significantly. And Larry Fedora did not recruit poorly. He brought in top 25 to 30 classes to North Carolina, but Mack Brown doing so much better. The final statement made by Jeremiah Gamel, who did not play in today's spring game. He's got 2,000 snaps in his career. He doesn't need to play in a spring game. So he stood on the sideline. He assessed his guys. He pumped them up. He had 78 tackles last year to finish second on the team to Surratt. He talked about, and he was asked about his message to the team following the loss to Texas A&M in the Orange Bowl. And I thought it was so well worded, his reiteration of what he spoke about in the locker room of how to take that loss. On one hand, not to be satisfied, just playing well on a national stage, on national television against a top 5 opponent, not being satisfied that it was a good game and they stayed close. But at the same time, understanding the situation, and he didn't mention this, but you could read between the lines, they were missing big-time players in that game. North Carolina was missing the two-headed monster at running back, the best running back tandem in college football. They were missing their best defensive player and maybe their best player, period, Chaz Surratt, and they were missing their 2 best wide receivers. 5 of their best players on the sideline. Now, Texas A&M missed a few guys, but nothing close to the productivity that North Carolina had on the sideline. But that was not an excuse, but at the same time, you could tell that Jeremiah, speaking between the lines, was basically saying, understand what we were going up against, a top 5 opponent, first major bowl game for us, missing the talent that we were, even though that was not stated, not making that excuse. And look at what we did out there. We had guys playing tonight, and I'll mention a few of those guys on offense in just a second, that stepped up against one of the best defenses in the country and made plays. Both sides of the ball made plays and made this a game. So let's be proud. Let's not tolerate the loss, but let's be proud of what we're doing, because this should be a springboard and show us what we're capable of doing next season. Let's go to the offense. In addition to Sam Howell taking what could be the best skill set in college football at his position, quarterback, and improving it both physically and mentally and in terms of leadership and intangibles. And let's go to the backup quarterback in Drake May. He needs to fill out, hit the weight room, do all those things, even though he's a big kid. I thought when I first saw him that he needs to fill out a little bit, but he's 240, so television can be a bit deceiving. So he's got the frame to be the prototypical, like Sam Howell, the prototypical great quarterback that can take a beating, also see over the line and deliver the football. 6th rated pro-style quarterback, 55th rated quarterback or player in the nation, regardless of position, number 55. That's rarefied air. And he looked the part, both running and passing, made the throws, looked comfortable, looked confident, was having fun out there in a good way, not screwing around, having fun, but feeling confident, feeling it, and delivering. So the backup quarterback battle is between Jacoby Criswell and Drake May. At running back, again, they lose Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, the best tandem in the nation. And it was discussed during the broadcast, their draft prospectus, probably Williams going first between the two backs, maybe in the second round, and then Carter more of a third to fourth round guy. All right, Ty Chandler comes in from Tennessee. He by far has the most reps and productivity under his belt. He's a top 5 all-purpose back in the history of Tennessee football with over 3,200 total yards. The rest of these guys are not highly touted players, and a few of them have been on campus for a while, so we'll see if they're able to kick it into gear. They looked good, especially to me. The guy that looked the best to me was Caleb Hood. He got a ton of reps in this game. He was the 51st rated athlete coming out of high school, 36th rated player in the state. So not highly touted Caleb Hood. Also, Josh Henderson, again, not a top running back coming out of high school, at 39th in the nation and the number 13 rated player in New Jersey in the 2019 class. He did have 36 rushes last year for over 5 yards per carry. And then you get Elijah Green, who Mack Brown called the fastest running back in the room. 55th rated running back in the country, Elijah Green, in his class, and he had most of his reps last year, just 10 attempts total, most of those coming against Western Carolina. So we don't know a whole lot about any of these running backs and what they can do. It's a deep offensive line. They believe that they've got 9 offensive linemen who are ACC caliber offensive linemen. So they've got their starting 5, whoever they're going to turn out to be, plus 4 other players who they are confident can play in big games. All right, at wide receiver, they lose De'Ami Brown and Daz Newsome, 2 of the best in the ACC. Bo Corrales had a big year 2 years ago, 40 catches, 6 touchdowns. Of course, he was missed most of 2020. So we saw a lot of these guys that had to step up in the bowl game, most notably Josh Downs, who only caught 7 passes last year and 3 touchdowns, but in the bowl game against Texas A&M, in replacing Newsome and Brown, 4 catches, 91 yards against Texas A&M and 2 touchdowns. So he can get it done. He had a big 46-yard reception in this game. Antoine Green had a touchdown catch. He caught 4 last year and a touchdown. Emery Simmons, another guy that Sam Howell talked about stepping up this year, had 15 receptions last year. So I'm not concerned with the wide receiver room. These guys, in limited time, have shown that they can match up against first-rate defensive backs and make plays. The running backs, I think there is a slight concern. I would think that out of the committee that they have, especially with Tyson Chandler being the one guy that has shown that he can play against top-notch competition, that they will have enough to put together. But they've got nobody that's going to wow anyone like the 2 guys that are leaving. So that's the take on North Carolina football. Maybe the statement of the game was made by, in terms of hyperbole, but we will see if they can back it up. Jeremiah Gamel said that his goals for this defense this year is to first become the number 1 defense in the ACC and then to become the number 1 defense in the nation. 10 starters back from a very marginal, mediocre, at time atrocious, give up 53 points to Wake Forest defense. North Carolina football should be exciting, should be interesting. They are the front runner along with Miami, but considering what they did to Miami head-to-head last year, they would be 1 to Miami's 1A in contention for the ACC Coastal Division Championship this year. Your thoughts about North Carolina football below. Keep it locked in here at the Voice of College Football. Like, comment, share the videos out on social media. I say this all the time, but here's the deal. We pump out the college football content every day. We go live every day talking college football with you. People don't know that we're here. They can find out from you. You can help us get the word out. Share the videos. Let people know that we're here. Share the videos on social media. And we will see you with more spring game recaps right here at the Voice of College Football.